Hello everyone, PEI Pen Guy here. I'm going to do a little video about a vintage Pilot. It's the Pilot Super 100. And looking online, trying to do some research, I came across a few references to it being from, say, the 1950s. Um, yeah, so I would say either like late 50s, early 60s. Some reason I kind of lean towards the 60s myself, even though I've only seen references to the 50s. But anyway, so what you have is a rather attractive black and gold pen. Uh, it's a vintage pen, so vintage pens tend to be smaller, and in some ways, when I look at this one, I almost think of this one as actually probably a larger vintage pen in some ways, even though it isn't that large. It has a uh, gold colored cap. I don't know if it's gold filled. It doesn't really say. It says Pilot just along the edge here. Plastic body, a little gold finial with a little plastic button at the end of it, and uh, you know, serviceable clip, kind of springy actually. It works quite nicely. Uh, so when you uncap the pen, mine is missing a clutch ring, which would be just about here. For some reason, I lost it. And it comes with a 14 karat gold nib. Um, it's what I call sort of an inlay or inset nib. Reminds me of a fingernail. I've heard them referred to as fingernail style nibs. It's probably a fine nib, I would say. It doesn't really say on it. There's not a lot of information on the pen. Right along here, it does say Pilot Super 100. Now, I have another one, another Pilot vintage pen that I only identification on it is super quality on the nib. There's nothing on the body other than Pilot. So there seems to have been at that time uh, a name being used, super quality, Super 100. I've seen, I believe, Super 80. Uh, and they're very nice pens. This one's actually in fairly good shape. Um, it's a little janky, I'm going to be honest, because it's missing a clutch ring. It's also missing the original filling system, which was like, uh, I don't have it on hand. I'm not going to open this up to show you what I have inside. Right now, I just have a latex sack inside. You just squeeze it and it opens. The original one came with a latex sack, and over that was a metal sleeve. And on the bottom of uh, the metal sleeve was a little button, and you would turn the button, and it would it would cause a bar to depress against the latex sack, and then you turn it the other way, and it would pop up, and the ink would go into the sack. The one I had when this came, the button was broken, and I haven't found a replacement for it. But I just have it sort of, you know, tossed together in a slightly janky way. But it works, right? So if you focus in on the nib, excuse me, I'm hitting my, if I can get that. I really can't get that to focus. But you have a little sort of a, you know, breather hole here, but there's also another one, just like a little half moon shape just down here at the section. And I'm not too sure why that is, but it's just the design. There we go. That looks a little better. You can just make out the two breather holes on the nib. So it's a 14K nib. We're going to do a little writing sample, see how it works. And, it's a vintage pen. One of the first things a lot of people might notice trying a vintage pen for the first time, if they're used to modern pens, they're going to notice that the nibs on vintage pens are often smaller than modern nibs. So this is a 14K. It's a small nib, probably a fine. Now it is a very fine nib. Um, but skipping a little bit there, I didn't get a good fill. I tried to fill it with a sample of Ferris Wheel Press Jelly Bean Blue. That's what that color is. It's quite a nice color. Sadly, with the sample bottles, it's really difficult to to fill from them unless you pour it into a converter or something like that. But this doesn't have a converter, so I was sort of winging it, and I got most of it on me, as you can see. But anyway, so it's a relatively smooth writer. It's an older pen. I didn't really get a good fill on there, and it's skipping, so it's not really working that well. When I clean this up, I'm actually going to put a proper fill in it, not use a sample bottle. We'll get it filled up properly, and hopefully it'll work a little nicer. So anyway, I'm looking for some information. Do you know what year Pilot Super 100 was released, and how long did they manufacture them? Let me know in the comments below. I'm not an expert on things like this, but I like finding out information. Quite often, other people have information that I need, and I'm always looking forward to finding out new stuff. And anyway, it's a nice little pen. The next time I ink it up, I'll probably put something from a full bottle in it. I think I had Oxford Blue in it before, and it worked very nicely. I'm just going to do a little size comparison now while I have it here. So as you can see, this is a Pilot Custom 74, a modern pen. And side by side, of course, the vintage pen is quite a bit smaller. Smaller length, smaller girth, and a smaller nib. And uncap that. And also quite a different style nib, of course. This sort of reminds me of the E95S in some ways, which was probably a better example. But as you can see, the difference in the nibs and the sizes of the pens. It posts quite nicely, and it actually posts to be a decent sized pen, comfortable in the hand. I like the width of the pen. It's not necessarily the thickest pen, of course, but it's for a vintage pen. It has a nice girth to it, feels comfortable, and it works quite well. I'm always interested in old pens, and to be honest, when you get an old pen, you're getting problems, and that's part of the fun, if you're into that kind of thing. Trying to solve the problems, looking for parts. I'm still looking for parts for this pen, and I'll keep looking for them. What I need is a clutch ring, and I need the proper filling system for the pen for it to fully work. But, sometimes you come across a junk pen, and you can use it for parts. So I keep my eye out, and I'm looking. Oddly enough, usually when I see these pens, they're actually in fairly good shape, which is kind of interesting. I haven't come across too many junk pens. But yeah, so what I need is a clutch ring and the proper filling system, or just a different filling system. But we'll figure that out as time goes on. That's part of the fun of the hobby. I'm a hobbyist. I'm not a restorer. I'm not an expert, but I enjoy tinkering, and that's one of the fun things for me with vintage pens. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. It's just a little introduction, not too in-depth. But if you know more information about this pen, let me know in the comments below. And I hope you have a great day. And if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. And if you're new around here, I invite you to subscribe to the channel. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.